This should be, I think, the last of my tall, skinny journals that I'll be sharing. This one is also intended as a gift for one of the ladies attending the retreat in Vermont. And I hope she loves it. It was made with a lot of TLC for her, especially. I've used some beautiful Dupioni silk. It's got a brocadey print in the fabric. It's got some of Sheila's beautiful blush pink sari silk tie and one of her stick pins. I've got some beautiful dangles down the bottom and some vintage buttons. And then what I've got is I've used a few layers of vintage lace, and I actually tea-dyed this one. It didn't absorb it very well because of the fabric that it is, which was fine. It came out this almost like a mauvey gray, and I just thought it was so perfect with the pink and then white vintage lace at the bottom. So I used very, very pale, it's not really white and it's not really champagne, but it's a very soft color embossed paper. I purchased it embossed already, and all I did was add a bit of antique tatting and used one of the images from Ruby and Pearl backed onto parchment paper and stitched around. So I love to do this veiled pocket look. As you can tell, it's just so sweet, and I felt this particular journal was so feminine and romantic. And one of my journaling cards that I like to make with vintage German book page, some music paper, antique lace, mother of pearl buttons, a fussy cut flower from Odolcina Anne, and one of Heather's vintage lady images from Ruby and Pearl XO. So I haven't counted the number of pages inside. There's probably about 15. And what I did was I used all of the blush pink hand-dyed papers that Sheila makes. She made several for us that we ended up using in some of our kits for the retreat, and they are just stunning. I'm sure you ladies are going to just love using them and looking at them. They have a beautiful texture. I have no inside pockets. I wanted to just leave this undecorated, and it is using artisan paper on the inside, one piece, and just stitched around on the outside. So this is some of my beautiful Anna Griffin paper. I've used some of Sheila's velvet that I had scraps left over, some blush colored vintage lace, some of Sheila's sari silk ribbon, and some little appliques that I got from Georgianne of her beautiful lace. And I've just backed it onto some, I can't remember the name of this paper. I think you all know what it is. Core Definitions. And I just folded over the Anna Griffin paper to the back side. I just thought it gave it a really nice finish. Got some Edith Holden book page, some music paper, a fussy cut flower. Very simple, not too many embellishments or pieces of ephemera. I've got a sweet little glassine paper bag that is blush pink with some polka dots on it, a couple of pieces of extra ephemera, a tea-dyed doily that I have added shimmer polish to, the gold shimmer. Here I have a pocket at the bottom of the page, and I've created a tall skinny tag using book page, piano roll paper, vintage wallpaper with the flocking in it, some stamping, Tim Holtz wildflower die cut, and beautiful silk topper that I've just ripped into ties and ribbons. Love it. And we've got a couple more pages. This one is, I just created a fold or a tuck spot there and used some of Sheila's beautiful embroidered sequin trim, one of my favorite colors. Some Shakespeare, Julius Caesar book page, more journaling spots, a page from Ezekiel out of the Bible, a vintage Bible. Yep, a vintage Bible. Some French-English dictionary page with a die cut out of some pink parchment paper, cardstock weight. And here I have another tall tag. I've just used some scrapbook paper over top of the granite paper that I have in a gray tone. Some of Sheila's beautiful, beautiful blush velvet scraps, some vintage white lace, and a beautiful vintage lace sequined applique from Georgianne. And it just pops into here. These tall tags are great. There's a lot of extra space on there that you can use for writing. I just used some music paper in the center of this signature and added a die cut made out of green parchment paper. Here's the dangles, super long and dangly, and I wanted to dress them up extra special, so I just did a little tiny bow out of some seam binding in blush pink. Some of my Anna Griffin paper. Love this so much. Such beautiful flowers. Some vintage cutwork lace and some of the tatting at the bottoms, vintage tatting, backed onto that Core Definitions paper again. At the top of this page, I have another dangle, and it's got some pearls and blingy stones. A couple more pages of the blush dyed paper. It's just so wonderful. Those are the ones that Sheila goes chasing around her yard for when she does her paper dyeing. It's just such a hilarious story. But boy, oh boy, once you have these in your hands and you feel the texture of the papers, they're just amazing. And we're just coming to the back of the book now. It's not really a naked journal, but it's next to it. It's very unembellished. Look at the design on those papers. Isn't that just so stunning? Another tall, skinny tag. This has vintage book paper, vintage piano roll paper, some vintage wallpaper, stamping, a die cut, and again the silk with the little bows in the flocking. And I do have a separate video showing how I do the staggered cascading wallflower. What do you call it? Waterfall book pages. This is just standard 4.5 inch wide tall skinny journal. And the other side of the doily and the paper bag just have some chiffon silk as a topper and this sweet little tag. And that's about it. Some more music paper. I've done my business card and a small flower fussy cut. And what I've done is a vintage lace swatch card or tall tag here. I've used several layers of paper, some book page, some parchment paper that I ran through my embossed folder, a swatch tag at the top, and just some pink cardstock in the back. And these are the 2 pieces of vintage lace. Isn't that just beautiful? This one actually is probably antique. Just the feel of it is just so exquisite. And that's it. So that is my pink tall skinny journal. And that will be gifted to somebody special at the retreat. I hope she likes it. I'm sure she will. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again next time. Bye for now.